The Part 2, Deeper Investigation, Lawsuits and Hotel History. To understand what happened to Elisa Lam, you must first understand where it happened. The Cecil Hotel did not gain its notoriety overnight. Its walls have witnessed nearly a century of human tragedy, violence, and unanswered questions. When the Cecil opened in 1924, it was a respectable downtown Los Angeles accommodation. Over the decades, however, its reputation decayed alongside the neighborhood. By mid-century, longtime residents had begun calling it the suicide. Suicides dotted the hotel's record throughout the 1930s, 1940s, and 1950s, many occurring in rooms where guests checked in alone and never checked out. In 1964, a beloved tenant nicknamed Pigeon Goldie Osgood was found raped and murdered in her room. That crime was never solved. Then, in the 1980s, the Cecil became unwittingly connected to one of America's most feared serial killers. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, used the hotel as a base during his killing spree, sometimes discarding bloody clothing nearby before walking back inside unnoticed. In 1991, Austrian murderer Jack Unterweger stayed at the Cecil while committing murders of sex workers. His presence only added to the building's bloody resume. The list of suicides, homicides, overdoses, and unexplained deaths grew long over the 20th century, turning the Cecil into a place where death seemed almost ordinary. Even after the official ruling, questions persisted among investigators and internet sleuths alike. The Lapton coroner concluded that Elisa Lam's death was an accidental drowning, influenced significantly by untreated bipolar disorder. Toxicology showed her prescribed medication levels were absent or extremely low, indicating a possible psychotic episode before her death. But the mechanics of how she reached the rooftop and entered a water tank remained murky. One challenge was the hotel roof itself. Official testimony described multiple points of access, fire escapes from interior corridors, and a staircase door that would trigger an alarm, yet no alarm was reported sounding in the days leading up to the discovery. It's unclear if the alarm was functioning or ignored. Once on the roof, accessing the water tanks required climbing a platform and maneuvering around plumbing and equipment. Lifting the heavy metal lid of a water cistern was also a feat in itself. According to engineering testimony, retrieving access to the tanks wasn't straightforward, even for a fit adult. This, combined with the behavior shown in the elevator video, generated enduring questions that the official investigation did not fully explain. Within months of Elisa Lam's body being found, legal actions began. In September 2013, Elisa's parents, David and Unna Lam, filed a wrongful death lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court against the owners of the Cecil Hotel. They claimed the hotel failed to make the premises safe and did not identify hazards that pose unreasonable risk to guests like their daughter. The complaint argued that if hazards like unsecured tank access had been addressed, Elisa might still be alive. At the same time, separate class-action lawsuits were filed by former hotel guests alarmed that they had used water potentially contaminated by Elisa's presence in the tank, although those suits did not result in major liability findings. The hotel's defense hinged on a legal concept known as foreseeability, the idea that an owner cannot be held liable for risks it could not reasonably predict. Lawyers for the hotel maintained that it could not have anticipated a guest accessing a restricted rooftop and entering a water tank. After legal proceedings, in 2015, a judge dismissed a wrongful death suit filed by Elisa's parents, agreeing that the situation was not reasonably foreseeable and therefore not actionable under California negligence law. No hotel owner or operator was found legally liable for Elisa's death, and no compensation was awarded. The case drew unprecedented global attention. When law enforcement released the elevator footage mid-investigation, it became a sensation, sparking intense speculation and conspiracy theories across social media, blogs, and video platforms. In 2021, Netflix released Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, a documentary series examining not only the circumstances of Elisa's death, but also the broader context of the hotel's violent history and the cultural obsession with dark mysteries. Critics of the investigation noted that the official explanation left key questions unanswered, including how a young woman with no known physical impairment could access such a restricted area and perform physically demanding tasks alone, though no evidence definitively contradicted the accidental drowning ruling. Meanwhile, the Cecil Hotel itself underwent transformations. It was renamed Stay on Main in 2011 in an effort to leave behind its troubled past, but the shadow of its history persisted. In the later 2010s and early 2020s, the property was renovated and repurposed as an affordable housing complex, incorporating elements of both its architectural heritage and its controversial legacy. Elisa Lam's case is more than a viral video or an eerie mystery. It sits at the intersection of mental health, urban isolation, historical neglect, and legal ambiguity. The story forced the public to confront uncomfortable realities. How do we care for individuals struggling with severe mental illness? What responsibilities do property owners have in ensuring safety, even in areas guests aren't meant to access? How does internet culture amplify tragedy into myth? The legacy of the Cecil Hotel remains complex, a century-old structure that witnessed human suffering, societal neglect, and a young woman's final, tragic hours. In the end, the case continues to occupy our collective attention because it shows how life, law, and legend can converge in ways that defy simple explanations.